Yep, interesting. So, all right, let's talk the other end of the spectrum,
Mhm.
from brand new, kind of, in the last few years, changing the world, to one of the stalwarts in the industry, who is trying to shake it up and act like a startup, at least in some ways. And this is, you found this one, and of course, I am chagrined that I missed it because this is right here in my backyard. But
Mhm.
IBM is unveiling what they're calling the Watson X. They just refuse to give up the Watson brand, whatever, the
Mhm.
Watsonx AI Labs here in New York City. And here's what I love about this. I actually think this is brilliant. I've been increasingly becoming a fan of IBM's sort of renewed approach to the market in general, certainly their approach with AI. And the basic idea behind this lab is they're trying to connect and tap into the very, very large and very fast moving AI startup community here in New York City. There are, I believe the number is over 2,000 AI startups here in the heart of the city, all centered in just a couple of very small areas. So that, like, there's
Mhm.
just this absolute crush of talent, and they are trying to tap into that. They're trying to be relevant, and not by trying to do the traditional big enterprise play that we've seen many players, which is take a big stick and beat everyone over the head with it. But they are trying to ingratiate themselves into this community,
Mhm.
and listen and engage and provide access to their immense resources to sort of identify and uncover what's coming next, and to sort of code innovate. And I think it's brilliant. So I'm going to rush down there and take a look at the center. And I'm super excited about the fact that they're doing this.
Yeah, so I've been to the One Madison location several times for analyst events, and I think it's a both a great location as well as it's a good thing for them to be doing in general. I think one of IBM's problems in recent years is when I go downtown to any of the big tech areas in America, whether it's San Francisco or Boston or Austin, I'm looking for the IBM office, and it's not there. Like their Boston office is not actually in Boston. They've got some stuff in Silicon Valley-ish area, but it's not super easy to get to if you're in one of the actual cities. So, but One Madison is definitely the different from all of that. It is right in the middle, in the heart of where everybody is doing the real work in New York City. It's very well located if you are a fintech or marketing startup to be able to use that space as hopefully a shared space, or to be able to access IBM's considerable resources. And the more that they can open that up and create some sort of ecosystem, the better chance that IBM has to be a real core that can be like an Amazon Web Services, except obviously more AI focused in this case.
Yeah, and I think if you're a tech company right now in the space, you got two ironically very divergent challenges. The first is what I think IBM is trying to solve for here, and that is getting access to the talent, staying connected with this very fast moving space, and figuring out where you need to be going in the market. And so I think this is definitely solving for that. And then the second issue is the fact that I'm reminded how how nascent we really still are in this whole evolution. I did a couple things actually this last week. I did a webinar talking about agentic AI, and the impact on the service desk with a bunch of industry leaders. And then I actually spoke at an event, sort of with a group that was talking about the brass tacks of agentic AI. And the nice part is everyone at least knew how to spell AI, but it was very clear that there is still a whole lot of uncertainty and a whole lot of question marks and just barely dabbling with it, even personally. And
Mhm.
so it's like you have these two extremes, right? Where it's on the one hand, you have to figure out how to get the talent, how to build those pipelines, how to stay grounded with what's happening. And on the other hand, you have a market that is eager and interested and still at the very, very early stages of adoption and needs a ton of education. And I think it's like there's companies that are good at one or the other, and it's really hard to be good at sort of both of those at the same time. So I'm actually super hopeful because I do think this has the potential for IBM to break through some of that. We've talked a lot about in the past some of their challenges with their disparate brands and the lack of cohesion with their different go-to-market motions. And this at least has the potential to sort of smooth some of that over. So I'm hopeful. I'm eager to go see it.
Yeah, we're still at a time where I'm seeing tech influencers with reaches, names deleted to protect them, but basically saying things like, "Oh, agentic AI is really stupid, but large language models are super smart." Like they don't know what they're talking about because the technology is moving so fast, and they're not experts, but they are being asked to provide comments, and they have an audience from whatever they did 5 or 10 years ago. Obviously, if they say things like that, they don't know what they're saying, but they say them anyways, and they go public with things like that. Just saying that they're, even with people who are well known in the tech space, often they don't know the most basic things about how AI is working in the enterprise world. So trying to get to uh, thinking about things like token cost and agentic interactions and interoperability is just far beyond where a lot of people are in tech. This is still very early stage. And of course, if you're listening to this podcast or watching this video on YouTube, you're already ahead of the game. But just be aware that all of this that we talk about on a day-to-day basis that we take for granted is probably something that 95% of the business world doesn't understand, other than to say, oh yeah, I've used AI, therefore I'm an expert.
Exactly, exactly.